Welcome everyone to Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live. I'm here, Josh Chastain here, live with Worldwide West. Wednesday evening here in the Bluegrass State, a big weekend of racing. This past weekend, a lot to talk about on this week's show. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump right to it. You and I were at Ponderosa Speedway Friday night for the Johnny Mulligan Classic. We're going to be there. You walked up to me out of nowhere, and but we were both there this past weekend.
Yeah, it was really good to see you, and good to get back to Ponderosa Speedway. I really love it there, and see a pretty good night of racing overall. I was happy.
Yeah, it was, man. I tell you what, like I thought it was an excellent show, a great night of racing. The feature really started out, being a good show for the super late models. I don't think any of us are surprised by who won it, but I will say this: it was somewhat a surprise because Eli Beats has had such a dominant trend here over the last little bit at Ponderosa and Lake Cumberland both. So Josh Rice picked up the feature win, but it was a fun feature race for sure.
Yeah, especially the first part of the feature had a lot of fireworks back and forth, uh, trading slide jobs, Eli and Josh. And kind of kind of had a bounty on Eli. Like you said, he's been hot at Lake Cumberland and Ponderosa, and he's from Tennessee, but he loves racing in the Bluegrass State. So um, still come home with a podium finish. That was a good race for Eli Beats, and not to put the cart before the horse, or the horse before the cart, that is. But I would love to see Eli Beats at the North South 100 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I totally agree, and I'd be surprised, really, to be honest with you, if he's not there. Speaking of North South 100, we've talked about it on each of our practice episodes, but we can't go another show without talking about Josh Rice. Of course, like I said, once he cleared and I knew he was gone. I mean, it was like he caught up to him and had a faster car. I was just wondering if he could make a move around him, but Josh Rice picking up that feature win there, and that's coming off the north south, or not the north south that he won at Florence Speedway, and then also he won the July Jamboree at Atomic Speedway. So I mean, he's been on a tear lately, and I'd love to see him carry that over to the North South 100 for sure.
Yeah, and then he also got a third place podium finish there at Brush Creek with the 4B Forever 40 as well. Um, Rice is hot right now. He's got his betties rolling in the right direction for sure.
Well, he is for sure, and so it's always fun to watch him. When he shows up, it's going to be a show. But he's definitely on a roll here lately, no doubt. Victor Lee won the modified feature at the Johnny Mulligan Classic. Logan Preston. It was a surprise to me. I was actually there helping Logan and his crew, and when I say help, I mean I did very minimal. I think the only thing I did was plug in an extension cord to the battery charger. But nonetheless, Logan Preston picked up his first feature win at Ponderosa Speedway on Friday night, and for a guy that's had so much success in that Superstock series around here, that was kind of surprising to see that he had never won that before Friday night.
That's interesting because I have watched him race a lot at Ponderosa, and to hear that was his first feature victory, that's surprising to me as well.
Yeah, it is for sure. And then Jake Lutz won the four-cylinder feature, and David Mahler won in the hobby stock division. So it was a fun night of racing, though. Overall, I really enjoyed it. And then on Saturday night, the action moved over to Lake Cumberland Speedway, and I did see where Tommy Bailey picked up the win in the crate late model feature there at Lake Cumberland Speedway.
He did. He did. He looked good Friday night as well. Got a runner up to the Rattler, Justin Ratliff, in that you had mentioned about the pro late model division there. Friday night. But Tommy, a couple more laps, I believe he might have caught Rattler. I really believe that was a good race. The crate race was probably the best race of the night there at Ponderosa. But yeah, I was excited to see him get the victory on Saturday night at Lake Cumberland.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that crate feature was a lot of fun. You know, crates put on a heck of a show each and every week, and they certainly did both nights at Ponderosa and then again at Lake Cumberland on Saturday night. So I'm especially excited about this show because for the first time ever, we are going to have a guest on our show, and I'm excited about this because Racing the Bluegrass Live for the very first time. Racing in the Bluegrass Live hotline. We have with us the driver of the number 17 Lightning Chassis Open Wheel Modified from Richmond, Kentucky, Tyler Rigsby. Tyler, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good, man. I tell you what, I'm excited to have you on here this evening. How has your gone so far up to this point?
Well, we started out really excited. First night out, blew motor in practice, and I can say the rest of the season's been about the same way. There's been some really exciting points, and then things happen out of everyone's control, and you go back down to a low point.
Yeah, for sure. And I was actually there with you at Lake Cumberland for practice when you blew the motor. So I should have threw in there as well. Rigsby racing engine powered machine, but the backup motor, that is, for the rest of this year. So that kind of leads me into something else that I wanted to talk to you about. So I've known Tyler my whole life, and one of the things, I know Tyler very well. I can tell you he's probably the most calm person that I know. To tell you a story, in Tyler's first year, and he's actually in his third season now, but his first year, we were at Richmond Raceway, and Tyler spun to miss a wreck and backed his car into the wall, and I'm talking mangled the race car. I mean, it was destroyed, and he comes back to the pits, and we're all looking at the car, and I mean, it is just bent all to pieces. And Tyler says, "Well, that's part of it, I guess." I mean, just the most calm that that I've ever heard. So my first question: sport where most people aren't calm, Tyler, how do you stay so calm?
I really don't know. I guess that's just the type of person I am. I don't get too bent out of shape over very much, and it's just like everything else. Stuff happens. There ain't much you can do about it. Pick up the pieces and go on.
Yeah, for sure. I get that. I get that, no doubt. And I would say that's probably one of the big reasons why you're still racing and I'm doing a podcast. So congratulations on that, at least. And so it is so much fun. I'll be honest with you. You know, there's so many platforms out there for national drivers and focusing on super late models, but it's fun to get some drivers on here, and that's one of the things we want to make sure that we do is sort of give our local drivers an opportunity to have the spotlight put on them a little bit, not just focusing on super late models and national stuff, but some of our drivers around here and what's going on with their programs. So it's definitely fun to have you on, Wes. I'm sure you've got some questions as well.
Yeah, I just I know you was talking about this is his third season. Tyler, why did you start racing? What was your main reasoning to get into dirt racing?
Well, I've been going, I guess since I was 3, 4 years old, and there ain't many many Saturday nights that I've missed being at a track somewhere, and I guess ever about since then. And then I guess about 3 years ago, Josh, you had got your car, and I'd been helping you a lot with it, going and going. And every time I was there, I was like, I really need to get one. I need to get started in it. And I'd say that's probably what drove me to getting one more than anything, just being there with Josh and with the car in the pits, going through all the motions of race day and how exciting it is. And I found one, pulled the trigger on it, and started putting it together. And it's been a blast ever since.
That's awesome. Well, it's definitely something that one of these days I would love to do, is jump in a car and race. And I know there's a lot more to it than just that, but it's something I would love to do at least one time. So that's awesome to hear your story. I know Josh said kind of a tough year that you've had so far, but what do you hope to accomplish as far as the rest of the season goes?
I guess the rest of the year we're just focused on learning about this new car more or less. I feel like the last couple of nights out, it's kind of been uneventful nights, I guess you would say, for us. Nothing exciting's happened, but I feel like we're getting closer with learning how to adjust the car, and I'm learning a lot more about driving this one. To me, it drives 10 times different than the other one I had, so just getting some good, consistent laps and finishing out the year with top 10s every night. That's a good goal for me, I think, this year, and just trying to learn about the car more or less.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get it dialed
what's
in.
your plans? What's your plans for the weekend? Where will you be racing?
I'm going to Richmond Friday night. I think they've got a fan and driver appreciation night. And then if all goes well Friday night, we'll head back Saturday and head down to Rockcastle. It's the makeup race from a couple weeks ago that we got rained out at. So there's quite a few cars there that night, so I'm expecting most of the people that's there be back. So should be a couple of good hopefully a lot of fans at both tracks.
Yeah, it'll be a fun weekend for sure. I agree. I'm looking forward to it. Coming up Friday night at Richmond, a rare Friday night race at Richmond Raceway, and then Saturday night for the Tommy Lanham Memorial at Rockcastle Speedway. So, and Wes mentioned something, and I kind of want to touch on this since we're on this topic, a local racer, local team sort of thing. So just pull back the curtain a little bit, because one of the things I was surprised about, I always said I wanted to drive a race car, and what I thought about when it came to driving that race car was just being at the track and racing. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is what you guys do week in and week out just to be able to get to the track and get to your next race and have the fun that you have at the racetrack. So, like, what are you working on? What do you got to do this week just to be able to make it Friday and Saturday night?
Oh, well, we got it all washed up Monday evening. And tonight we've been working on straightening the back bumper out. It kind of got bent up a little bit this past Saturday, and straightening body panels out, and putting the body back on the car, and then some bolts and check the oil and just general weekly maintenance, and should be good to go after, I'd say, tonight and tomorrow night. Takes a couple nights through the week, it seems. Go through everything, make sure everything's good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Tyler, I tell you, it's been fun. We do appreciate you coming on here this evening. I know you haven't made it to Victory Lane yet, but I think you'll be there before too long. But every night on the Dirt Racing and the Bluegrass Live podcast is a Victory Lane kind of night. So before we let you go, I do want to give you just a moment, all the people you need to thank.
I'd like to thank Starfire Premium Lubricants. They help us out tremendously, and they have the last couple of years. Thank Josh Chastain, Realtor, for helping us out this year, getting us back and forth to the track. Outlet Tool and Manufacturing, Middletown Metal Works, Impact Creative, and definitely got to thank my wife and my girls. It's a family sport for sure. Everyone helps out and helps out at the track, and thank my dad for he's always with us going back and forth to the track and puts in a lot of hours keeping this thing going. So.
All right, sounds good, Tyler. Well, good luck this weekend. Thank you again for joining us. It's been a lot of fun.
Yep. Thank you, Tyler. Good luck this weekend.
So that was a lot of fun having Tyler on here, and I know these guys they do, man. They put in a lot of work, a lot of effort just to get to the track each week, and so it's fun to bring them on here and let them talk for a little bit and hear about kind of what's going on with their racing program.
I agree. That's a awesome touch, and it's good to hit all the classes that we have that race across the great state of Kentucky. So we're gonna dabble in a lot of different drivers and crew chiefs, track owners, maybe even get some concession workers come on top.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and you're right, it would be fun. All aspects of racing. It's amazing how many people it takes week in, week out just to make up this great sport that we all enjoy so much. So you're right. I mean, I've got all kinds of thoughts and dreams about who all we could have on here, and it'd be a lot of fun just to get different sides of views of different people in our sport and different people that make this whole thing possible. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. About up and coming drivers, Tyler being one of those, just in his third season of racing. We got a lot of those drivers here new in our sport right now. So it really got me thinking a while back. We've been talking a lot about team owners from right here in the state of Kentucky who employ drivers from outside the state. You got Brandon Overton from Georgia in the Wells Motorsports ride. You got Dalton Wilson from North Carolina in the Ratliff Racing ride, all doing great. Brandon, of course, on a different level last year, dominated the sport in that Wells Motorsports ride. But then, Dalton Wilson being, he seems to be running up front almost every weekend with Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. But I can't help but wish that there were some Kentucky drivers getting some of those big Kentucky rides. So I'm wondering, is there an up-and-coming driver, someone that you can think of that might be a potential Kentucky driver to one of these days soon fill one of those seats?
Up-and-coming and kind of the same situation is Blake Brown. I watched Blake race at Corbin Speedway when he was, I'd say he was younger than 12. And I've watched him race every division on the asphalt. And then, see the success he's had in an open wheel, and now he's got the crate. He's not really debuted it yet, but we saw the pictures of the car. I'm excited about that, and that's one down the road that could get plugged into one of these big time Kentucky race teams. That's one to watch.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with you, and he actually is close to debuting a super late model. I'm glad you mentioned that. Kevin Eisen is on the side of his car, and I think that's so cool. And we haven't had a chance during one of these practice podcasts, but I do want to mention, that's a guy. Recently, Kevin passed away, but he was someone who was a huge fan of our sport, a big supporter of drivers. He helped a lot of drivers around Kentucky get their start, and he's one. And so I'm interested to see what he's going to be able to accomplish in that super late model. I know he's got tons of talent. I'm sure he'll do great, but I agree with you. He could definitely be one of those guys to fill one of those seats one of these days. I could see that for sure.
Yeah, he may just continue. He's got the team with his open wheel. He's got crew guys. His dad helps a lot. His dad was a really good racer back in his day on the asphalt with the late models at Corbin Speedway and also Rockcastle Speedway when it was asphalt in between the two times that it's been dirt, and that was really cool. I watched Robbie race a lot. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for the tidal wave terror, Blake Brown out of Corbin, Kentucky. He's talented, and I'm excited to see what he can do in that super ride.
Yeah, and a super good guy too, for sure. Blake Brown. We had a cornhole tournament at Florence for the North South 100, and he came over and played with us, and just a down to earth guy, good kid. I'd love to see him get in one of those rides for sure. Speaking of the Tommy Lanham, Rockcastle Speedway with the Tommy Lanham Memorial, I know we touched on this a little bit a few weeks ago, but I want to kind of come back to it because we had a conversation off the air earlier today. We talked about, it would be nice to see that Tommy Lanham Memorial be a super late model race. I know a lot of people feel that way. Big races being a Tommy Lanham Memorial. I know we talked about this. I know how you sort of feel about that. I'm going to tell you a not so common opinion on that. Myself, I feel like the future locally in our sport, crate late model races, and it's kind of the direction things are going. It's becoming more popular. There are more and more of those cars coming around, more for them. You see people like Dustin Linville getting in a crate late model here lately. So for me, I kind of enjoy that because I feel like it gives an opportunity for guys who actually knew Tommy, local guys, to have a chance to put their name to that and have a shot. And it'd be a lot of fun. We talked about just these last couple of weeks. Last weekend, Ponderosa Speedway, Lake Cumberland Speedway, that crate class being a fun class to watch. So I think while I love supers, I do think it'll be a lot of fun this weekend to see those crate guys go and battle for the big money and the Tommy Lanham Memorial. I know there'll be a lot of those guys out there who knew Tommy personally. A lot to those local guys just to win that race.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm really looking forward to this Saturday. Also, hoping, fingers crossed, that I get to go. This is the third annual, and I've not been able to go to the previous two events due to work. And Big Tommy and I were close. He was my cousin, but as I mentioned in one of our past podcasts, he was one of the very instrumental people in my life to get me involved in the racing and to help me find that love for it and that passion. And him and his son Tommy Ray, I mean, that's family. And we raced. We went all across the country racing, and I do see the point you're making with it being a crate race. 3,000 to win, that's a good purse for the crate guys, and for a local guy to win that knew him personally. He flagged all over Eastern and Central Kentucky. Loved racing, loved it to death. But as we were talking off the air earlier today, for it to be a super race would be huge at one of our Central Kentucky tracks, and then maybe even to be sanctioned by a series, a possible Ironman late model series, and to see what it could grow as a race, 5, 10, 15,000 maybe to win. I know last Friday night at Ponderosa, the announcement, Johnny Mulligan Memorial next year will pay $15,000 to win at Ponderosa, and it was $10,000 this year. So that's awesome, and to see that. But nothing against the crate guys. I hope to see 25 to 30 crates show up, and it's very possible on Saturday night. And I know that he's going to be honored, and looking forward to a great night of racing.
Yeah, it will be fun for sure. And something a lot of people don't know is that Tommy was lined up to be the flagman at Rockcastle Speedway, and unfortunately never made it. But they are honoring him this weekend. I know that's family to you, Wes, and it means a lot to you and your family to have that event. And so we're certainly looking forward to it. I have actually been fortunate enough to make the previous two. I'm looking forward. Nothing happens. Hopefully, I'll be able to be there and be able to witness it. And at Rockcastle, I'm looking forward to it. And having said that, it has been a fun show. In fact, maybe one of the most fun shows we've had so far, because we actually had a driver on here, man. We've had things going on in this show, and I appreciate everyone for tuning in. This will also be available not only with this live stream, but it'll be available on your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, wherever, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. Be sure to subscribe there. We thank you so much for joining us. I hope you can catch a race this weekend coming up. Big weekend for racing once again. We've got Friday night at Richmond Raceway, Lake Cumberland Speedway. They're having the Mod Mania. They're paying $2,500 to win for open wheel modified, so a big night for those open wheel modified drivers. And then, of course, as we've already mentioned, on Saturday night, the third annual Tommy Lanham Memorial, $3,000 to win for the crate late model divisions, as well as their support classes at Rockcastle Speedway. Wes, it's going to be a fun weekend. I know I don't even have to ask you this, but I'm going to anyways. What are you most looking forward to this weekend?
Well, as I've mentioned, I'm going to try my best to go Saturday night to the Rock and honor the late great Tommy Lanham. Really looking forward to that. I've not got to go and watch a race at Rockcastle yet, so that's something I'm really looking forward to. So that's where I'm headed. And also, don't forget, 5,000 to win. Also Saturday night at Florence for the Super. Show that they have added to their schedule for this year, so that's also one to add to the list. So a lot of great racing. Get out and support your local track this weekend.
Absolutely. For Wes Lanham, Worldwide Wes, I'm Josh Chastain. I think that just about wraps us up. We'll see you at the weekend. Until next time, we will see you at the races.